Let's check in with one of our favorite people. It's Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District, on the LegacyRetirementGroup.com phone line. Congressman, Happy New Year. I hope you and the family had a great holiday season. I hope Santa left some nice stuff for you and the family under the tree.
Well, that Santa did, and I'll tell you what, it was obviously interesting time in sports, but I'm glad the New Year's ahead of us. So
yeah, we could talk sports if you wanted to, but I don't know how happy we'd be at the end of the conversation. Right. So over the weekend, the Venezuela operation, Congressman, we have a dictator, a drug-running communist who is no longer in business in Venezuela, and this is a good thing.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt it's a good thing. I mean, this is somebody that even the Biden administration put a $25 million bounty on this guy. He was an illegitimate leader. Both President Trump and Biden recognize this. This is a guy who refused to give up power. Listen, I think this is all common sense. I'm sure we'll get more briefings. We had a little briefing by the president yesterday, but I'm sure more will be coming. I think it's good for this country, and I think if you look at everything in Venezuela, and it's not just you hear a lot of talk about the not only the critical minerals but the oil and everything, but it's also how Venezuela affects Guyana, which is a neighboring country. They were pushing into one of the largest oil reserves that actually is owned by Guyana, but they were working with the Chinese and the Russians, and we saw how China sold military equipment to Venezuela. Of course, we saw how well that turned out, but Russia doing the same thing and working with Iran. I think this is a very good step, and I think it was the right decision.
So what's next there? I mean, we're hearing that the Trump administration wants to grab 30 to 50 million barrels of oil, sell it at market price, basically split the profits between the people of Venezuela and the United States. The next several weeks and months there are pretty critical.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, I think as you're looking at what this country needs to do, to make itself productive again. Obviously, this just shows you how when you go in, when you follow a socialist model, which is what they did there. Obviously, with a thug like Maduro, how bad that is for the people. But I think what you'll be able to do is get some of our people working with the people in Venezuela. And listen, they have some of the most productive reserves in the world. And I think just getting those to operate just at a minimum will benefit the people of that country, and not only that country, but also the world in terms of production.
Congressman Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th. What kind of message does this send, Congressman, to some of our adversaries, China, Russia, Cuba, Iran? What if you're the leaders of those countries and you're seeing what we just did in Venezuela? What's going through their mind?
I think they've got to understand that America is back, and that we are not going to take China and Russia and Iran messing in our hemisphere. I mean, this is essentially a reassertion of the Monroe Doctrine, something that has guided America's foreign policy for over 200 years. I think it sends a good message to them, and it shows that we are committed to this region of the world. And we're committed to protecting our American citizens by making sure that we don't have these thugs that are, poisoning our youth and poisoning our people in this country.
Mike, the other big story we've been covering a lot this week, closer to home, and I do believe your colleague James Comer is leading the hearing today on the massive fraud in Minnesota with the daycares and just the misappropriation and just stealing money, essentially, taxpayer dollars. What do you make of this story? And there is a local tie. I mean, Ohio does have, Columbus specifically, the second largest Somali population in the country. Still trying to figure out exactly what's going on here at home, but in Minnesota, it's a mess there.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and I think if you look at, and you pointed it out, Central Ohio and Columbus being the second largest Somali population base in the country, and I've met with a lot of the Somali leaders over the course since I've been in office, and most folks are really working hard and trying to do the things that are correct. But let's be clear, there has to be a zero tolerance for any people that rip off our government and the hardworking taxpayers that are actually funding the government. And so I know that I believe it was in the last 24, 48 hours, we saw ICE actually go in, even at an increasing level, into Minnesota. Reports have been coming back last night. We'll see what more they have. I know the governor has done a press conference. I know the governor of Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine, has been working really hard to try to educate people how we do things in Ohio. So we'll see.
Yep.
But, we'll see what the hearings have with Comer. But, listen, really big problem. Everybody has seen the online stuff. Everybody has seen the folks going out to some of these daycare centers. It's disturbing. It's disturbing to see what has happened to our taxpayer dollars. So, again, I think that Ohio is going to be different than Minnesota. I don't think there's any doubt about that. The president also highlighted yesterday when he was talking to all of us on the Republican side some of the problems that are even going on in California. So we've got some major issues, and it'll be interesting what Comer comes out with in his hearing.
Yeah, and I think the American taxpayers want to see arrests. I mean,
absolutely.
We see these big global operations, everything that he's done in the Middle East, of course, Venezuela. We need to make sure that there's people in handcuffs here in this country who are defrauding taxpayers of their money. Congressman Mike Carey, so this is the one that I really wanted to get to you on today, and that's the temporary funding bill that ended that government shutdown in October, which I believe largely performative on behalf of the Democrats. That's a different conversation. But that is set to expire on January 30th. Are we going to go through this again?
I don't think so. I think the Appropriations Committee has been working extremely hard, both on the Republican side and the Democrat side. You saw we had 3 funding bills that we were able to get out when we actually continued to open up the government, just last month. I think you're going to see that this month. I mean, obviously we had Mike and I were talking before I went on air. We lost a member from California yesterday to a really wonderful guy, Lamothe, out of California, and we also had another member that rolled his car on his way into D.C. So I'm not sure where we're going to have with the votes, but I do think you're going to see at least 3 of these appropriation packages that will make their way, if not this week, hopefully first and next. And a lot of big things in that for Central Ohio and the 15th Congressional District, a lot of things that we've put in for. But part of that would hopefully be, to make sure that we do not shut down the government, because nobody wants to see that happen again.
Well, specifically talk about, you were directly responsible for securing some of this money in in this package in negotiations that will benefit Central Ohioans should this pass, and we hope it does. Talk about what kind of money we're looking at.
Well, so in the first tranche, obviously, we did some things for Madison County. We did some things for Franklin County, but in this one, some really good projects for Ohio Jewish communities with Security and Technology Funding Project. We're doing some work with the East Trend wastewater improvement. That's about $1 million facility. A regional campus for engineering for the Ohio State University. Some workforce development for the survivors of human trafficking. This is a project that we've been working with Freedom a la carte on, a great program, as well as trying to do some work for the lift station down there for the Honda LG plant in that economic development region. So, a lot of people in Central Ohio will be working down there. So all great projects. We want to see this get done, hopefully this week, if not first and next.
Well done, sir. And by the way, all of the funding requests that you have made for this fiscal year are on your website if people want to learn more and see more. Always good to hear your voice, Congressman. Thanks for checking in. We'll hopefully talk here before the end of the month and get an update on the funding of the government.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it.
All right. Happy New Year. Mike Carey, Ohio's 15th District.